We're here with Bruce Rutledge from Chin Music Press, down here in the deep down under Pike Place Market. I have a question about a book I saw in here about New Orleans, and I'd love to be able to see if I can answer some questions.
Yeah, sure. This is, do you know what it means to miss New Orleans? We put this out right after Katrina in 2005 when the city was a mess, as you remember. And so we made the book with New Orleans writers who were all not in New Orleans. They had to leave, and they were in Memphis, and they were in Atlanta, they were all over the country. We asked them to write stories about their city. We structured the book like a jazz funeral, so the first part of the book is like seriously sad, like a dirge, and then the body goes into the graveyard, and then in a jazz funeral you celebrate the life after that. So the second half of the book is filled with recipes and art and a celebration of the city.
Yeah.
This kind of caught on in New Orleans, and we made a lot of great connections. If I could show you one more thing over here.
Absolutely.
Okay? Yeah.
Let's do it.
Another book we did in New Orleans is called Hurricane Story. We got all the art on the wall, and this is the story of a woman who literally went into labor on the day Katrina hit. And she tells her story about going on the road and giving birth to her little baby through pictures. And if anyone's been to New Orleans and knows about the king cake with a little baby inside, when she saw the little plastic baby in the king cake, she realized, that's how I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to use photos and toys to tell the story about how I had to leave my city and give birth to my child on the run. And it ends happily. She has a lovely baby boy who just turned 19. So
That's beautiful. All right. So Chin Music Press, you guys you started out doing a lot of Japanese literature, and you've expanded because you have a connection to New Orleans. You're a professor there, right?
Yeah, I teach journalism at University of New Orleans, and obviously online.
Yeah, and that's never been more important because I feel like as studying journalism back at WSU, I'm very blown away by how much the rules I learned are no longer applying.
Same with me.
Exactly. Well, thank you for keeping the standards and this amazing shop. This is the headquarters of Chin Music Press. And you guys you have books in how many different stores around the world?
All over the world. Lots of your local indie stores all across the country. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Kinokuniya Books. Even across the world.
What's your number one hit? What's the bread and butter?
Right now, it's this one.
Okay.
It's a graphic novel called We Hereby Refuse by Frank Abe and Tamiko Nomura, and it's been doing great. It tells the story of Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II, and the myth that they all just went in and were peaceful is broken here when it shows how much resistance there was, and it's in graphic novel form. Highly recommended. Frank Abe also has another book out about Japanese literature anthology.
Yeah.
So,
there was a book, my dad told me this story, and it blew me away. It's like, actually, I can't even tell this story without getting misty. Guys usually cry during war movies, but the Nisai, this one right here. This one. Can you tell me a quick one about this one? This is a story my dad told me as a little kid. I'd sit around my father and tell me great war stories. This is one of the greatest stories he ever told me.
Yeah, this is connected to this, and we did 3 graphic novels about Japanese-American wartime experience. This is about the 442nd, the people who were in the concentration camps, got out, fought for their country, the USA, and saw some of the most brutal fighting in Europe. They were put on the front lines and came through with valor and were awarded, but went through some harrowing situations. And that's recounted in this book, Fighting for America.
Yeah, man. I'm getting misty out just thinking about that sacrifice and being told they weren't Americans and going to prove it and saving, and because I think it's a great American story. So thank you for telling this, and I love the connection to Japanese culture because I feel like the Pike Place Market upstairs used to be so many Japanese farmers were sent into internment camps right in this building.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Very true.
And it was a terrible thing that happened to the market. We can't forget because part of what made the market collapse in the 40s was the loss of some of our greatest farmers, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's very real. Thank you so much, Bruce.
Thank you.